The Ursuline nuns of Aix-en-Provence, France's possession trial. Two nuns fall into violent possession, speaking in demonic voices that condemn a priest to burn at the stake in 1611 France. In the spring of 1611, behind the cloistered walls of the Ursuline convent in Aix-en-Provence, France, something dark begins to unfold. The convent, meant to be a sanctuary of prayer and contemplation, becomes instead the epicenter of one of history's most disturbing cases of alleged demonic possession. What starts with one troubled young nun soon spreads like contagion, drawing the attention of the Inquisition itself and setting in motion events that will end in flames and death. Madeleine de Demandaux de la Palade comes from nobility. Young, educated, and from a prominent family, she enters the Ursuline order seeking spiritual refuge. But something troubles her deeply. Before taking her vows, she confesses to a local priest named Father Louis Gaufridi that their relationship has crossed boundaries far beyond those of confessor and penitent. The nature of their connection weighs heavily on her conscience. When she finally enters the convent, hoping the structured life of devotion will bring her peace, the opposite occurs. Her behavior deteriorates rapidly and violently. During Mass, she falls to the floor in convulsions. Her body contorts, limbs twisting into positions that witnesses describe as impossible for human anatomy. She begins to speak, but the voice that emerges is not her own. It is deep, masculine, and filled with blasphemy. The other nuns recoil in horror. The Mother Superior summons the local clergy immediately. Sister Louise Capau, a fellow nun who has shown Madeleine kindness and attempted to comfort her during her distress, soon begins displaying identical symptoms. Within days of witnessing Madeleine's affliction, Louise collapses during evening prayers. She screams in a voice that does not belong to her. She writhes on the stone floor of the chapel. She speaks words that shock the assembled sisters into terrified silence. Two nuns, both now seemingly possessed by forces beyond their control, throw the entire convent into chaos. Word spreads quickly through Aix-en-Provence and the surrounding countryside. The church moves swiftly. Local authorities recognize that what is happening within the convent walls exceeds their ability to address. They send urgent requests to higher ecclesiastical powers. The case requires someone with experience in confronting demonic forces, someone who understands the rituals of exorcism and the procedures of the Inquisition. Father Sebastian Michaelis arrives in Aix-en-Provence with the full authority of the Dominican order and the Inquisition behind him. An experienced inquisitor, he has investigated claims of witchcraft and possession before. He approaches the case with systematic rigor, determined to document every detail, every symptom, every word spoken by the afflicted nuns. What he witnesses in the convent convinces him that he is dealing with genuine demonic infestation. The exorcism sessions begin in earnest, but Father Michaelis makes a decision that transforms the case from a private ecclesiastical matter into a public spectacle. He orders that the exorcisms be conducted before witnesses. Word spreads, and soon the sessions draw crowds. Nobility from across Provence attend. Clergy from surrounding parishes travel to observe. Ordinary citizens pack into the spaces where the rituals are performed, desperate to witness the battle between holy authority and infernal power. What they see leaves them shaken. Madeleine and Louise, restrained by attendants, thrash with such force that multiple strong men struggle to hold them. Their voices, when they speak, are not their own. Deep, guttural sounds emerge from their throats. They speak in languages the witnesses recognize as Latin and Greek, languages the nuns have never formally studied. They reveal hidden sins of people in the crowd, secrets that no one else could possibly know. Some witnesses report seeing the women levitate, their bodies rising from the ground, while priests pray frantically over them. During these public sessions, the entities possessing the nuns begin to identify themselves. They speak their names with arrogant clarity. Beelzebub, one of the princes of darkness; Leviathan, the great serpent of chaos; Balberith, the demon of blasphemy. Father Michaelis records each name meticulously in his official documents. The demons, speaking through the nuns, boast of their power and mock the attempts to drive them out. Then the accusations begin. Louise Capot, in the grip of possession, begins to name Father Louis Gaufridi. The demonic voice speaking through her declares that Gaufridi is responsible for the affliction. He is a witch, the voice claims. He has made a pact with infernal powers. He has used sorcery to corrupt Madeleine and to bring this curse upon the convent. Madeleine, during her own possessed episodes, confirms the accusation. The demons speaking through her provide detailed testimony about Gaufridi's alleged crimes. The Inquisition opens formal proceedings against Father Gaufridi. He is arrested and brought to trial. The evidence against him comes primarily from the testimony given during the exorcism sessions, words spoken by women allegedly under demonic control. This extraordinary use of possessed testimony as legal evidence sets a disturbing precedent, one that will echo through French religious trials for decades to come. Under interrogation, Gaufridi initially maintains his innocence, but the Inquisition employs methods designed to extract confession. Subjected to torture, weakened by imprisonment, Gaufridi eventually breaks. He confesses to making a pact with the devil. He admits to practicing sorcery. He acknowledges corrupting Madeleine. Whether these confessions reflect truth or simply the desperate words of a man in unbearable agony becomes a question that history cannot definitively answer. Throughout Gaufridi's trial, the exorcisms continue at the convent. The sessions remain public and the crowds continue to grow. Thousands of spectators witness the nuns writhing and screaming while priests invoke the name of Christ and command the demons to depart. The spectacle becomes a grim form of public theater, a demonstration of the Church's power over the forces of darkness, but also a terrifying display of what those forces can allegedly accomplish. Father Michaelis documents everything with meticulous care. He records the hierarchy of demons as revealed during the exorcisms. Beelzebub stands as the chief possessing entity, with Leviathan and Balberith serving as secondary infernal powers. The demons themselves, speaking through the nuns, provide information about their nature, their assignments, and their spiritual opposites among the saints. This information, signed in the official records with the names of the demonic entities themselves, survives in the historical archives to this day, a chilling artifact of the proceedings. The trial concludes with a verdict that surprises no one who has followed the case. Father Louis Gaufridi is convicted of witchcraft and sorcery by the ecclesiastical court. The sentence is death. On April 30, 1611, he is burned at the stake in Aix-en-Provence before a large crowd. Witnesses report that he maintained his innocence until the flames consumed him. Following Gaufridi's execution, the possessions at the convent begin to subside. Louise Capot experiences a gradual cessation of symptoms. The violent convulsions decrease in frequency and intensity. The inhuman voices fall silent. Within weeks, she is declared delivered from the demonic forces that had afflicted her. She returns to the regular life of the convent, though the experience leaves lasting marks on her psyche. Madeleine's condition proves far more resistant. Even after Gaufridi's death, she continues to suffer episodes. The exorcisms continue for months, then years. She remains a troubled and controversial figure within the Church. In 1653, more than 4 decades after the initial possession, Madeleine herself faces trial for witchcraft. The pattern repeats, the wheel turns, and the woman who once accused another finds herself standing in the position of the accused. Father Sebastian Michaelis, recognizing the historical significance of the case, publishes a comprehensive account of the proceedings in 1613. His work, titled The Admirable History of the Possession and Conversion of a Penitent Woman, includes detailed descriptions of the exorcisms, transcripts of the demonic testimony, and an elaborate hierarchy of demons paired with their opposing saints. The publication becomes one of the most influential texts in Catholic demonology, cited by theologians and inquisitors across Europe for generations. The Aix-en-Provence possessions establish a pattern that will repeat throughout 17th century France. The Loudun possessions of the 1630s involving Ursuline nuns and resulting in the execution of Father Urbain Grandier follow a remarkably similar trajectory. The Louvier's possessions of the 1640s echo the same themes. In each case, nuns exhibit symptoms of possession, accusations are made against priests, testimony from allegedly possessed women is accepted as evidence, and men are executed based on words spoken by those claiming to be inhabited by demons. Modern scholars debate the nature of what occurred at Aix-en-Provence. Some view the case through a psychological lens, suggesting mass hysteria, trauma response, or manipulation within the complex power dynamics of religious institutions. Others point to the genuine distress of the nuns, the consistent testimony from multiple witnesses, and the documented phenomena that defied contemporary explanation. The case exists in the uncomfortable space between historical fact and unexplained mystery. The physical evidence survives in multiple forms. Church records document the proceedings in official Latin. Court transcripts detail the trial of Gaufridi. Father Michaelis's published account provides a first-hand narrative from one of the primary investigators. These documents allow modern researchers to examine the case with a level of detail rarely available for events from the early 17th century. What remains undeniable is the human cost. Father Louis Gaufridi perished in flames, convicted on evidence that would be inadmissible in any modern court. Madeleine de Demandaux spent decades haunted by what occurred, never fully escaping the shadow of 1611. Louise Capau lived with memories of behaviors she claimed not to control. The other nuns in the convent witnessed horrors that challenged their faith and their understanding of reality. The case also demonstrates how easily fear of the supernatural can become weaponized. Whether the possessions were genuine manifestations of demonic forces or the product of psychological and social pressures, the machinery of religious authority transformed suffering into execution. The testimony of the afflicted, filtered through the interpretations of powerful men, became justification for death. The legacy of Aix-en-Provence extends beyond demonology and church history. The case influences literature, art, and cultural understanding of possession for centuries. Writers and scholars reference the events as either proof of demonic reality or warning about religious persecution. The detailed demon hierarchy recorded by Michaelis appears in occult texts and grimoires, divorced from their origin in a case that ended with a man burning alive. Today, the Ursuline convent still stands in Aix-en-Provence, though its function has changed over the centuries. The building that once echoed with screams and prayers now serves different purposes. But the history remains, documented in archives, remembered in local legend, and studied by those interested in the intersection of belief, power, and the unexplained. The Aix-en-Provence possessions force uncomfortable questions that resist easy answers. What truly afflicted Madeleine de Demandaux and Louise Capau? Were they genuine victims of demonic assault, or were they women trapped in circumstances that drove them to psychological crisis? Was Father Louis Gaufridi a sorcerer who corrupted his spiritual charges, or was he an innocent man destroyed by forces beyond his control? The evidence allows for multiple interpretations, and certainty remains elusive across 4 centuries. What cannot be disputed is that something extraordinary occurred within those convent walls in 1611. Multiple witnesses, including trained clergy and educated observers, documented phenomena they could not explain through the understanding available to them. The consistency of testimony across numerous sources suggests that whatever happened was real to those who experienced and witnessed it, even if the true nature of those events remains subject to interpretation and debate. The case stands as both a paranormal mystery and a historical tragedy, a reminder that the line between spiritual warfare and human cruelty can become dangerously blurred when fear governs judgment. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.